Mule train, hop along there, you old jughead. Watch out ahead up there, cover on down. Mule train, clippity-clopping through the wind and the rain. Seems as how they'd never stop. Clippity-clop, clippity-clop, clippity-clippity, clippity-clippity, clippity-clopping along. Mule train, hop along there, you lop-eared critters. Move along there, boy. Mule train, clippity-clopping along the mountain chain. Soon they're gonna reach the top. Clippity-clop, clippity-clop, clippity-clippity, clippity-clippity, clippity-clopping along. There's a plug on the back for a miner in Corona, a guitar for a wester way out in Arizona, a dress in calico for a gal in Kokomo. Get along, mule, get along. Mule train, hop along there, you bob-tailed rascal, you sway-back scoundrels. Cover on in, watch it up, boys. Mule train, clippity-clopping through the wind and rain. They'll keep going till they drop. Clippity-clop, clippity-clop, clippity-clippity, clippity-clippity, clippity-clopping along. There's some needles and some thread for the local general store, a present from Sis Roebuck that a bride is waiting for, some rheumatism pills for the settlers in the hills. Get along, mule. Oh, be careful with that whip, pony boy. Get along, mule. Mule train. Come on now, no count hides. Take a hold in there, boys, you leather limb. Come on, move along, you leather lassoed animals. Mule train. Chippity, clippity, clippity through the wind and rain. They'll keep going till they drop. Clippity-clop, 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 clippity-clippity, clippity-clopping along. Mule train! Go on there, Jenny, move along, whip along there, whip it. Oh, watch it, you ringtail leathernecks, way back from Tennessee, and Manny. I'd like to be a cow in Switzerland, where the grass is always green, where the hunters hide behind the trees, shooting holes in good old Schweitzer cheese, where the bulls are all such gentlemen, so gently they go moo. I'd like to be a cow in Switzerland, I'll bet that you would too. I'd like to be a cow in Switzerland, where the skies are always blue, where the milkmaids yodel all the day to their sweethearts miles and miles away. Ole-le-hee-oh, ole-le-hee-oh. How are you? How are you? How much is 2 and 2? 22. All the Swiss are vegetarians, and Swiss cheese is the rage. I'd like to be a cow in Switzerland and live to a ripe old age. Switzerland, where the mountains kiss the sky, where the bulls like Ferdinand are meek and so shy, because the mountains peak, where the black cows give milk chocolate and the white cows give ice cream. I'd like to be a cow in Switzerland, where life is just a dream. That's it, dream.
You two fellows, Bert and Harry Peel.
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
But we're doing a commercial right now.
Eugene Hill. I represent the Brand X Brewery. Sirs, we demand equal time.
Equal?
Oh, this is ridiculous.
We don't even talk about Brand X
Nonsensical.
anymore. This year we're concentrating on Peel's long-lasting head and how it helps make our beer extra refreshing.
I understand.
You see, Peel's long-lasting head acts as a seal, and it keeps flavor and freshness from escaping.
Are you all through?
Well, yes.
Well, yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, Brand X may not have a long-lasting head. It may not taste as good as Peel's. But we're doing the best we can.
Well, sir, don't tell us you're
We've
hard
come a
luck.
long way in the last 2 years. Naturally, Peel's taste best.
All right, come on,
They've
Bert,
been
let's-
at this thing longer.
Show
We're
'em the
only
way up.
beginners. But does every beer have to be as good as Peel's?
Right this
no,
way.
no,
This
there's
way,
room
sir.
for a second best.
You take that on, Bert.
Come on, you sob sister. Sob sister. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, the head is still there. Boy, it really is.
This is Harry Peel speaking from the steps of our Peel Brewery.
Hey, he looks a lot younger than he does on TV.
Bert is proving to passers-by that the Peel's head lasts a remarkably long time.
Do you notice that? The head is still there.
As you heard,
Boy, it really is.
the head Bert poured some time ago is still there, and here's why that's good. You see, the head on a glass of beer actually seals in flavor and freshness, keeps it from escaping. For that very reason, great numbers of people who know and appreciate a really refreshing glass of beer invariably choose Peel's, a product of Peel Brothers, Brooklyn and Staten Island, New York.
The head is still there, but we are taking it inside now. We are thinking of you, and we don't want you to miss your buses. Hey, that little guy is swell.
Besides, my feet are killing me, Harry. You said the Peel head lasts a long time. I didn't know you meant this long.
He wishes to know why your Peel's beer tastes better than that of other American breweries.
Tell him, Harry.
Well, Peel Brothers here in Brooklyn and Staten Island,
Brew a
New
beer
York,
with an extra long lasting.
brew a beer with an extra long-lasting head, and that head acts like a seal, keeping flavor and
Freshness.
freshness from escaping.
Regarding the head on your Peel's beer, which lasts so long, and therefore keeps flavor and life, freshness from escaping, how can I instruct my breweries back home to imitate Peel's beer and create a beer of our own exactly similar to it?
You can't.
It's impossible.
He says, give me 5 years and I will do it. Do you wish to bet?
Yes, put your money where your mouth is. Harry and I are proud of the fact that the head on today's Peel's lasts extra long.
We're proud because that fact means a better glass of beer for you.
Yes, you see, the longer a beer's head lasts, the longer that head seals in freshness and flavor.
Delicious flavor, fresh poured flavor all the way down.
Now, that's so important, I'm going to ask Harry to repeat those facts.
All right? The head on today's Peel's lasts longer.
Step
That
this way,
means a
please.
better
This is
glass
Bert
of
and
beer
Harry's
for you.
studio. They do beer commercials which claim
See,
to be
the
funny.
longer a beer's
Now, the
head
shrimpy guy on the
lasts,
left
the
acts
longer it
very
acts as a
obnoxious, and the
seal,
big
keeping
dumb guy
freshness
gets
and
everything
flavor
mixed
from
up.
escaping.
Well, most of their gags are wearing thin
excuse
now,
me. Come
and
on,
pros
Bert.
around the
All right.
studio.
Hey,
Hey,
what are you
doing?
Put
Come on,
you
right
out.
this
That's what
way.
we're doing.
Hey, well, I'm not half through my
Out,
tour yet.
out.
Because its head lasts longer, a product of Peel Brothers, Brooklyn and Staten Island, New York, can give you fresh poured flavor all the way down.
And ever since their sales went up, they became real swelled heads.
I've got your name, boy.
Who's this? Well, you know who it is, don't you?
Sure do, Cordet.
Well, here we are again. Shut up, Tony. All right, Archie. That's enough, Archie.
Here he is, friends, Arturo Sturdley.
Well, who have we got here with us today, Tony?
First of all, we have a young man who wants to introduce a friend of his.
All right, sir. What's your name, please?
My name is Arthur Sturdley.
Uh-huh. Where do you come from, Arthur?
I'm from right over here in neighboring Red Bank.
We're kind of namesakes, aren't we? For the land's sake.
Sure.
What do you do?
Well, I'm an insurance man.
Oh, you're in the insurance business. You know, they say there's no one with endurance like the man who sells insurance. And who have you brought along today?
Brought along my brother. And, I think...
Where did you first discover him?
At home.
And what does he do?
Well, he makes with the singing.
I see. What type of songs does he sing?
Topical type songs. For instance, he's all wrapped up in Christmas music right now.
Uh-huh. And I suppose he's going to sing a Christmas song for us today, huh?
That's right.
All right. Well, our spotlight falls on... our spotlight turns to Wilmer Sturdley, who's age 15 years old, and he's going to sing a Christmas song. Run over there to that microphone and get your music all set up. It's about ready now, I think. You all set, Wilmer?
All ready. I'd like to sing my Christmas song.
All right.
Beautiful Ohio, la 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 la. Beautiful Ohio, la 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 la.
Go right ahead, it's wonderful. I think you're singing too slow.
Beautiful Ohio. Santa Claus is coming.
Well, I see our time is up for today. But before we go, let's have a reprise and see who won our little talent show. First, we heard from the beautiful girl marimba player, Emily Sturdley. Then we had the little 9-year-old tap dancing wonder from Red Bank, New Jersey. Help him up, Archie. And then finally, we heard from the singer who gave out with that beautiful carol. All right, our time is running out. Let's have a round of applause. Let's have a round of applause for each of our contestants. Bye. Bye. And we see by our reaction meter that today's guest is...
All right, Wilson, turn in your Sturdley.
Don't you know what to do when you get to that spot for a fanfare? Today's winner is Arthur Crudliff, who recited that great poem, The Village Smithy.
With great big muscles, band. A mighty smithy, he.
We've got some wonderful things lined up for you. Got some wonderful things lined up for you.
Oh, bet.
First, we're going to let you be guest conductor on the 3:30 garbage run through Charlestown.
Oh, boy. What else?
Then you'll be given the week at Lowe's Poli Theater in Last Chance to Saskatchewan.
Well, the manager said I was going to get the work.
And then finally, the best prize of all, you'll appear on our show all next week here at 1 o'clock.
Wonderful.
So you're on the ladder of success. Keep climbing. Climb up a little higher right now. You got a good start. Oh, maybe you'd better come down again. I see our time is up for today, though, so we got to say goodbye.
Thanks a lot, Arthur. Without you, America would be nowhere.
Has my paycheck come in yet?
Yeah, the 6 uniformed attendants have just arrived with it.
I hope they're well armed.
Accompanied by the 365th Field Artillery Band. And 1 atomic bomb.
That's enough out of you, Tony.
Okay, I'm
I
trying
say
to
the
get a
funny
laugh.
things on this
I
program.
know it. Thanks a lot.
Well, goodbye. Goodbye.
So long.
I think I'll stay around for another hour and a half.
Yeah, you could easily, too. Matinee with Bob and Ray is a regular daily feature of this friendly station. Ken Wilson plays the organ, Bill Green, piano. So long.
Yeah, bye.
This is WHDH Boston.
The time is now 5 minutes after 7.
Next, Mary Backstage, Noble Wife. Now, for the many fans who wait for her on the radio, we present once again the interesting story, Mary Backstage, Noble Wife. The story of a young girl from a deserted mining town out west who comes to New York to try to find romance and security as the wife of handsome Harry Backstage, Broadway star. And what it means to be the wife of the idol of a million other women. On Friday, Harry's hearing before the Board of Selectmen of Skunk Haven in regard to Commissioner Carstairs' order that he tear down his new house got off to a noisy start. And then at 2:30 in the afternoon adjourned until Tuesday morning at 10. And now it's a warm, sunny, peaceful Labor Day in Skunk Haven. Calvin Hoogevin, their next-door neighbor, and Jonas Lattimore, distinguished old character actor who is visiting the Backstages today, sit on the penthouse, the 16th story of the new home.
Reading the paper here, Harry, I see, well, you were very well treated by the press.
Yes, despite all of the activity there in the hearing room yesterday, Mary, or Friday rather, I think that we got off to a very good start.
You became very sympathetic when you cried.
I thought that was some of the best acting that I'd seen you do for a long time, Harry.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Jonas.
We were all thrilled to see you sobbing like a baby up there in the stand.
Well, of course, you have to do a little acting along with giving the facts, and that's what I was trying to do. I'm a little bit afraid of Commissioner Carstairs, though.
Yeah, he had me scared. I was crying, too, there.
Yes, he can...
But that was because I had my finger caught in the door.
Why didn't you take it out of the door?
Nobody had opened it up, and I didn't want to disturb anybody.
No, they can't open the doors of the hearing room once the hearing begins.
So I had my finger, the door closed on my finger there for almost 3 hours.
It must have been painful.
Oh, yes, it was.
Mary, I believe I'll have some more of that cocoa. It's delicious.
All right.
How about some more Fig Newtons, Jonas?
Sir, I have not a Fig Newton.
I'd prefer Lorna Doones if you have them.
I'm afraid we don't have any Lorna Doones.
What I'm worried about is how this hearing is going to affect my career on Broadway. Of course, it's great publicity, but...
I don't think it'll help your career on Broadway at all.
This is going to be a good season for plays, Harry, and you don't want to do anything that would hurt your chances of appearing in the show.
What?
No. He was just saying it's going to be a good season for plays, and maybe a lot of starring roles open, and...
But not for you, though, Harry. I mean, everyone says that you're not as good as you used to be.
Well, maybe after this is over, Calvin, they'll change their minds. I certainly hope so.
Somebody rapping on the table.
Yes, it was me. I was trying to shake this cocoa off my wrist.
Oh, there's some skin on that cocoa. I got all over my new tie.
Oh, too bad,
If you
Calvin.
let cocoa sit any length of time, it does that, and first thing you know, it's all over the place.
No, now, by George, I think somebody's at the door.
Come in.
Hello, folks.
Oh,
Hello, Pop. Hello.
Hello, Pop.
Well, Pop, come in.
We're sitting here on a quiet Labor Day, thinking of the hearing tomorrow that will resume at 10 o'clock.
Boy, this is the most exciting thing to hit Skunk Haven and slug back as I can remember. In all my years in the theater, I've never seen anything like this.
You never out of Skunk Haven much, were you, Pop?
Oh, I used to come out and visit Harry and Mary when he was a big star.
Oh, yes.
Of course, since his star has descended, I haven't been out here as much as I used to.
No fun being around a flop.
I rather dislike the way you people talk about my career being over.
Well, isn't it, Harry, really, in all honesty, don't you
Fill me
stink,
with-
really?
Calvin, I think your choice of words is rather poor. I have a good many years left in the theater, and I'm sure that Jacobus Pike or some wealthy Broadway angel, financial backer, will put up the money for a new backstage show. And if I can just get Felicia Floodgate to star in it with me, then everything will be all right.
Here you are, sir. I did find some loan to do.
No, thank you, Mary. I'll just finish this and then leave.
Why don't you dunk the loan to do in the cocoa? That's a delightful combination.
Good idea, Mary. I'll try that.
Well, I suppose I'd better take a nap so I'll be well rested tomorrow when the hearing begins again.
Yeah, I would if I were you, Harry. Oh, he's napping now. Let's go downstairs.
And so, amidst a friendly discussion of activities in Skunk Haven, Harry drifts off into untroubled sleep as he awaits the second day of his hearing, the fight to keep his 16-story home. Be sure and listen tomorrow when we return to the raucous room of the Board of Selectmen in Skunk Haven and hear Commissioner Carstairs say,
Over the past weekend, I have some new information here, period.
that's tomorrow in the next exciting episode of Merry Backstage, Noble Wife.
Back on the air here at the Bob and Ray Show. And just a few moments, we're going to call in Wally Ballou down in Plaza.
Not a very good day to send him down there either, but there wasn't anything else to do with him.
Down by the skating rink here. So, Wally, if you're ready down there, could you come in, please?
Skating rink. And, of course, today is not the ideal day for skating. However, there are a few folks who are stubborn enough to be out here practicing the art of skating. This is radio's beloved Wally Ballou, winner of 51 international awards, speaking from the right-hand side of the rink. You may be able to hear the skaters in the background as they circle around, making graceful figure eights, figure sixes, fives, a couple of twos. And I'm going to ask one of them to step over here to our roving reporter microphone. Miss, would you come over here, please?
What do you mean, man? Just because I wear this funny hat doesn't mean I'm a lady, you
What
know.
kind of a costume is that you're wearing, sir?
It's a T-shirt and shorts and long underwear underneath the shorts.
I understand that the skating rink will be closed within another week, and that...
Well, when it gets warm, they close it down because it's awful hard to keep ice here in August.
The ice looks kind of wet right now, as if the rain had maybe spoiled it a little bit.
Well, the rain isn't helping it. It's slowing the speed down quite a bit. What is this, a roving reporter?
Yes,
program?
a man on the street
I
program.
haven't heard... Fellow hurt himself. I haven't heard one of these in a long time.
Well, they haven't been on for quite some time, but we figured we would revive the interest in
Did you
it.
ask about pet peeves and things like that?
Do you have any pet peeves?
Yes,
sir?
I do. I don't like... my pet peeve is a fella who's chewing gum, see, and then comes dinner time and he puts the gum on the back of his ear till after dinner. It's a pet peeve of mine.
Very good. Well, now would you like to try for a pair of theater tickets?
Yes, sure. What theater is this, you know?
I haven't even opened the envelope here to find out.
Well, okay,
You'll just have to take them sight
You have a
unseen.
question?
Yes. What city is known as a summer festival?
No, you got me stumbled there. I don't have any idea.
Well, it's sometimes known as the heart of the Empire State.
Heart of the Empire State.
Called Gotham once in a while.
Rochester, New York?
No. I'll give you about 10 more seconds if you want to.
Buffalo, no.
Would you care to think about it? You want to go inside to the restaurant? And
Yes, why don't I go inside and think about it, and then I'll skate back.
Okay.
Is it okay if I cheat and ask somebody?
Well, if I don't see you, I guess I don't know what you're doing.
Sure.
Meanwhile, the skaters are skating around, doing graceful figure eights.
I got it.
Oh, here he comes now. Your time is up. You want me to...
Oh, help me
What
out,
happened?
will you?
What happened there?
Well, I tripped over your cord. I
Oh,
wish you
sorry.
fellas wouldn't get out on the ice with those.
Couldn't see it with the water over it there.
No. Wow-ee, boy, that stings.
Have you thought of the answer to the question?
Yeah, but now when I fell down and everything, I've forgotten it.
Well, I'll repeat it for you. The city that's known as a summer festival.
Philadelphia.
No, I'm sorry. My engineer is giving me the signal you're wrong. It is New York City.
Yes, New York City Summer
Well,
Festival.
I'm sorry, but thanks for being on our Man of the Street program. This is Wally Ballou sending it back upstairs. It'd be tough if Wally caught cold while he's down there, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I can see why those programs have kind of gone along, though.
Yeah.
Yesterday we told you about a new product which is helping to democratize America. This product is Grit, spelled G-R-I-T. Grit, the paste which makes your hands look dirty and gives you that honest working man's appearance.
Grit gives you dirty hands in a twinkling. Self-conscious tycoons use it every day in 48 states, Alaska and Hawaii. Women use it, too. I read from a letter sent to us by Miss Tilly Bergenheimer of Los Angeles. She says, I worked in an airplane plant during the war. I am sorry to say I was a receptionist for a vice president. All my girlfriends were spot welders, and when we had luncheon together, I was ashamed of my clean white hands. Then I heard of Grit, and after that, I had as dirty hands as any of them.
And here's another letter with a very good suggestion. Maybe you'd be interested in a suggestion for using Grit. I am a necktie salesman, and at 5 o'clock my hands are still beautiful. Before I meet the boys from the machine shop at Hurley's, I smear a little Grit over them, and strangers think I'm a cable overhauler. Boy, do my hands look dirty.
Yes, Bob, that's a very good suggestion. Now, friends, there's just one word of caution. Grit does not come off with soap. The only thing which will take Grit off is Smurge, the paste that removes Grit. Smurge comes in a good-looking, unobtrusive gallon can. A few wipes with Smurge, and the Grit disappears. Unfortunately, the odor of Smurge does not disappear.
But we've taken care of that. You can remove the odor of Smurge with Whiff, spelled W-H-I-F-F. Whiff, the Smurge remover in the handy 2-gallon demijohn.
For this month only, we make this amazing offer. A tube of Grit, a can of Smurge, and a bottle of Whiff for $26.95 postpaid. This will give you that popular dirty hand appearance for 30 days. Rub a little Grit on your hands before attending union meetings. Then wipe off with Smurge before meeting your girlfriend. And finish with a quick, easy application of Whiff.
Be the grimiest man in your crowd with Grit, spelled G for Grit, R for Rub, I for Eyesore, and T for Theodore Gramish, a friend of mine up in Boston.
Just write to Dirty NBC in New York and receive our sensational offer, postpaid, in a plain, odorless, welded container.
When people come up to shake hands with you, they'll say, "Ah."
And now, from approximately coast to coast, it's the Bob and Ray Radio Show.
Go ahead. He said, go ahead. The engineer said, go ahead.
All right, here we are.
Might as well start another one, I guess. Paul, thank you for...
Wrap it up, Paul.
Theme.
People are sick of that theme song. Okay, here we go.
You got a note stuck again, Paul.
Oh,
What do you do about that?
It's stuck. Oh, wait a minute.
Kick
It's
it.
one of those things. Doggone my luck.
We're always asking for listener support. This is one reason why we like to have listener support, so that the organ can be fixed to work properly.
Yeah. It'll fade out. But, oh no, here it is back again. This is one of those things that happens occasionally.
It's embarrassing, isn't it?
Yeah, for me.
I see you getting up and walking away.
Can you imagine if this is a real program on the air?
Well, luckily it isn't.
No,
Yeah, we're
that's
just sitting here having
Really?
fun.
Yeah.
In
This is
our
what
own-
we call a radio a technical difficulty.
And it's west of Denver. It isn't here in New York, where this program comes from.
And now a brief word from one of our fine sponsors, the Crutchford Braid and Tassel Company.
Friends, another big season of social activities is almost upon us, and that means you'll be wanting to replace the worn-out fringe on your epaulettes with one of the shiny new varieties now available at your local Crutchford dealer.
Now, whether you're a rising young rear admiral or a well-established hotel doorman, you'll always look your best in epaulette fringe by Crutchford.
And while you're stocking up at your local Crutchford store, you'll also want to look over the wide selection of fuzz balls for your kitchen curtains and fancy edging for your lodge banner.
Whatever your needs in braid or tassels, insist on genuine Crutchford, manufactured by the company that dares to stand behind its fringe for 2 full years.
And now, the Monongahela Metal Foundry, maker of high-quality steel ingots for home and industry, brings you another tale of adventures starring Tippy, the Wonder Dog. As we look in on the isolated cabin of Grandpa Witherspoon today, Gramps is seated on his cot, wearing only his red flannels and a cap endorsing a farm implement company. Meantime, little Jasper stands in the front window, staring out at the bleak winter landscape. Suddenly, the boy turns and speaks.
The landscape sure gets bleak this time of the year, Gramps.
Son, it all I know the landscape is bleak. All I care about right now is finding that fool dog of yours. I can't go to the Saturday night social at the Grange Hall unless he gets back from town with the rental tuxedo I sent him to fetch.
Oh, you needn't trouble your mind about that, Gramps. Tippy will be back in plenty of time with your formal wear, including the cummerbund. He's the grandest, smartest dog in the whole wide world.
Well, consarn it all, I could have run that simple errand a dozen times by now. I only sent the fool dog so I could conserve my strength for tango dancing at the social.
Fear not, Gramps. It just takes time to locate a powder blue tux and a size 44 Portly. But Tippy won't let you down. He's the niftiest, the smartest dog in the whole wide world.
Well, consarn it all.
Oh, forsooth! I think I see him now, Gramps, racing up the path with articles of clothing in his mouth. Here, Tippy, Tippy, Tippy! Here, Tippy!
Well, consarn it all, give me the tuxedo. I need to pin this carnation in the buttonhole before tonight.
Sorry, Gramps, I was mistaken in thinking that was Tippy I saw out there. It was just the Henderson's beagle headed home from the dressmaker with Mrs. Henderson's formal gown for the big social.
Consarn it all, every other dog in the neighborhood knows enough about current fashion to be sent out on a simple chore. But that fool Tippy is probably off in the woods someplace, chewing on one of my rented coat sleeves.
Oh, Gramps, you always make demeaning comments about Tippy whenever you get frantic. But he'll be here. He's the dependablest, the smartest... Oh, wait, I think I see him out there now. Tippy! Here, Tippy, Tippy, Tippy!
Hell, consarn it all, give me trousers so I can see whether they need to be let out around the waist before tonight.
No can do, Gramps. That wasn't Tippy either. It was just that stray kitten that hangs around the Oberfeld place. He was headed up that way with a corsage for old Lady Oberfeld to wear to the social.
Consarn it all, dogs are supposed to be smarter than cats, but that fool Tippy is sure the exception to the rule.
Oh, now, Gramps, you're just making another of those premature judgments you're famous for. But Tippy will show you the error of your ways. He's the keenest, the smartest. Oh, hark! I see him out there now for sure. Come in, Tippy. That's my swell old dog.
Well, consarn it all, give me that rented tux quick. If it isn't the right shade of powder blue, I may have to do a dye job on it.
This doesn't seem to be a tuxedo that Tippy brought home, Gramps. See, it's one of those plastic kazoos, like little children play.
Consarn it all, I'm going to make chopped meat out of that fool
No,
dog.
wait, Gramps. Don't you see the clever deduction Tippy's made? he must have encountered every other eligible widower in the village rushing to rent a tuxedo. So he realized that your best chance of becoming the life of the party was to provide kazoo music. You see, he even brought along an instruction booklet to teach you how to play it. Oh, boy, didn't I tell you, Gramps, that Tippy's the cleverest, the smartest dog in the whole wide world?
Today's inspiring drama has been brought to you by the Monongahela Metal Foundry, where steel ingots for home and office are still manufactured in a variety of decorator shapes to blend in tastefully with the theme of your room. Well, that's bound to come as good news to those who are tired of replacing worn-out ingots with the same old, long, rectangular type produced year after year by other metal foundries. At your Monongahela dealer, you'll find a wide selection of round, triangular, and even early American-style steel ingots to match your other furnishings. Your highbrow friends will be impressed with your good taste when you choose steel ingots to complement your decor. Check out the newest styles at your Monongahela Metal Foundry showroom today, and join us again soon for more adventures starring Tippy, the Wonder Dog.
Okay, folks, it's time to call the Bob and Ray special High Roller Mystery phone number and win fabulous prizes.
What mystery phone number was that?
The one that this public radio station is going to tell us about.
Oh, now wait a minute. Are you by any chance talking about how listeners can call and help support this station?
Well, I suppose you could put it that way. I just thought it would be a good idea, to kind of jazz it up.
Well, you don't need to do that. Don't you think the listeners to public radio are a little beyond that sort of talk?
Oh, heck no. Look, they like free stuff just like everyone else.
But they understand nothing is free. Not this program, not any program on public radio, because public radio is paid for by the people who listen to it.
And I might add that when you do join, you win a fabulous prize. The programs you want to hear. Because your vote counts when you call during this break.
And what about the peace of mind that comes with knowing you've done your part to keep your favorite programs on the air? I'd say that's a good enough prize right there.
You think we could get the Monongahela folks to throw in a few steel ingots for free?
Here's a highly trained announcer prepared to tell you how you can support public radio. And now come with us as we travel once again to Garish Summit, with its endless tales of intrigue among the socially prominent. There, in stately splendor, far removed from the squalid village below, they fight their petty battles over power and money. As our story resumes, young Caldwell Murchfield has just returned to work at the family business after being cleared of a crime that he actually committed. He pauses in the reception room to chat with his spineless brother, Rodney.
I just want to tell you that it's great to be back at work, Rodney. I also want to tell you that I'll be at the country club for the rest of the day.
I'd like to speak to you for a moment before you go, Caldwell.
Okay, but be quick about it. I'm scheduled to tee off at noon, and it's almost 9:30 now.
Well, I assure you this won't take long. I just want to say that my proposal of marriage has been accepted by my ravishingly beautiful secretary, Pamela. We'll announce our engagement at the club dance on Saturday night.
Gee, your timing may be bad on that, Rodney. I plan to ask Pamela to go with me to the dance. And it might be embarrassing for you to announce your engagement when she's there on a date with another guy.
Caldwell, I hope you'll see the wisdom of giving up your foolish pursuit of Pamela now that she's agreed to marry me.
Gosh, you never want me to have any fun at all, do you?
I really don't care about your frivolous lifestyle, but your attempts to date Pamela are unthinkable. After all, I'm obligated to ask you to be best man at our wedding.
Well, I don't know how much of a job like that pays, but I've got a hunch that the wedding will never come off. Has Mother heard that you plan to marry some floozy with no social connections?
I've only mentioned it to her briefly on the phone, but I know she'll be thrilled once we start making all the formal plans.
Hey, Wilfred, why is Miss Agatha up there on the roof? barely hanging onto the weather vane with one hand.
I believe she's a trifle upset that Master Rodney plans to marry a woman who's beneath his station, Lloyd.
You tell him to call it off right now, or he can come home and pick me up with an eyedropper.
Please reconsider, Miss Agatha. All of us servants still love you.
How could any woman be beneath Rodney's station? He's a wimp, and everybody else around here lives in Fruitcake City.
How can you be so insensitive, Lloyd? Miss Agatha is in peril.
Get my attorney, Bowden Pardew, on the phone, Wilfred. Tell him to handle this matter, or I jump.
Very well, ma'am. I'm dialing his number right now.
Well, forgive my intrusion, Mr. Pardew, but I have a proposition that can make you a millionaire many times over.
I'll try to hold that thought for a moment while I take this call on my private line. Hello? Yes, Wilfred. Well, inform Agatha that I'm busy with a client just now. No, I'm not concerned. As I remember, there's plenty of shrubbery to cushion her fall directly under the weather vane. Yes. I'll get back to you shortly, tomorrow at the latest. Goodbye. Sorry for the interruption, Mr.
Pelkington. Jarvis Pelkington, Jr., board chairman of the Pelkington Anchor and Buckshot Cartel.
It's astounding. Your firm is the hated competitor of the Murchfield Lead Company. The Pelkingtons and the Murchfields have been trying to destroy each other for 50 years.
Quite true, sir. But the end of that long battle is now in sight. You see, Rodney Murchfield's intended bride is merely posing as a simple typist. In reality, she's my dear sister, the accomplished industrial spy, Pamela Pelkington.
Good gravy.
Well spoken, Mr. Pardew. Now you just keep that as our little secret while you convince Agatha that the wedding should take place. And once the marriage enables Pelkington to absorb Murchfield Lead, you'll be handsomely paid for your services. Quite handsomely paid indeed.
Can Jarvis Pelkington persuade Bowden Pardew to use his influence on Agatha? Can Rodney persuade Caldwell to end his social relationship with Pamela? And what about Wilfred's failure to persuade Bowden Pardew to persuade Agatha not to jump? Join us next time when we'll hear Lloyd, the gardener, say,
Well, I don't know why he thought the shrubbery would break her fall. I transplanted those bushes last spring.
That's in our next exciting visit to Garish Summit.
We have the noted psychologist, Dr. Merton Chesney, back with us today. He's consented to answer questions phoned in by all of you emotionally disturbed listeners. Doctor, I'm happy to have you here in the studio again.
That's an interesting comment. I have unbalanced patients who think money will make them happy. Some even think fame would make them happy. But you're the first case I've run across that claimed having me in a radio studio made him happy.
Well, I didn't mean it was going to make me happy for the rest of my life. I just meant that having you here makes me happy, right now.
Ah, in other words, you have wild mood swings where you're happy for a short period and then you plunge into depression. Is that it?
No, that's not it. But right now, our first caller is on the line, so would you pick up the phone, please?
Not so fast. Your case interests me. Does this happy feeling seem to surge through your body like some manic form of elation?
No, in fact, I'm sorry I used the expression, so just pick up the phone and forget I was happy to see you, okay?
It's amazing to see how fast your mood changes once the cycle comes around the other way.
Pick up the phone!
Ah, you're a classic case. I must do a paper on you, but first I'll pick up the phone. Hello, you're on the air with Dr. Chesney.
Hi, Doc. I've had quite a problem since I fell under a bar stool last week. I'm not sure who I am. You see,
Well, amnesia is common after a sudden jolt. Is there anything with a name on it among your clothing that might identify you?
Yeah, a lot of stuff. My belt buckle says Yves Saint Laurent. My pants say Calvin Klein. And the T-shirt I was wearing when I woke up says Famous Amos.
Ah, that may just indicate you're a yuppie, but it doesn't really help much. Any ID at all in your wallet?
Yeah, driver's license. It says I'm Rex Hubby of New York.
Well, and why did you tell me you haven't felt sure who you are since you fell off this bar stool?
Well, it was my wife who made me feel that way. She came stomping into the bar and said to me, "Are you still the He-Man I married? Or have you just become a fat, middle-aged wimp?" Then she hit me, knocked me off the bar stool.
And you're not sure which of the two people she mentioned you really are, is that it?
Right, I just wish, she'd give me another choice. Potentially, I see myself as a big league infielder with irresistible blue eyes.
Well, then you're George Brett, and I'm glad to have cured your amnesia. Now we'll move along to another caller. Hello, you're on the air with Dr. Chesney.
Hello, Doctor. I sincerely hope you can answer a question that's been haunting me. Am I crazy just because I imagine I see Benito Mussolini everywhere I go, and he's always wearing a University of Michigan sweatshirt with pink leotards?
Yes, madam. Anyone who imagined that would definitely be crazy.
Okay, I just wanted to check. Thanks a heap.
My pleasure. Now, I think we have time for just one more quick call. Hello, you're on the air with Dr. Chesney.
Hello, I'm calling on behalf of a friend of mine who has a problem. You see...
Sir, I've been a practicing psychologist for many years. I know that people who say they want to talk to me about the problems of a friend are really speaking of themselves, so why not admit it?
Gee, I realize you're a great shrink and all that, but this friend of mine...
My good man, you're never going to have any peace of mind at all as long as you keep up this ridiculous pretense. So stop feeling guilt and admit you're talking about yourself. Admit it!
Okay, I admit it.
Good. Now we've made a breakthrough. Now continue, please.
Well, I'm going to have a baby. And the thing is...
You mean your wife's going to have a baby?
No, I'm not married.
Well, you can't be having a baby. It must be a friend of yours.
Yeah, that's what I told you before. It's a friend of mine.
Very well, and what's the problem?
I forget. You just got me going around in circles there until it seems to have slipped my mind.
Well, that's the purpose of my therapy. I'm pleased that it worked so well in your case. So, until I return to help another group of troubled souls like this gentleman, this is Dr. Merton Chesney signing off by wishing you all good luck and good emotional stability.
Well, hi there, boys and girls. Let's all gather around now for another session of fun and learning on Prodigy Street. I'm sure you little people are all anxious to put on your thinking caps so you can hurry up and become smarter than your mommies and daddies. So we're not going to keep you waiting one more minute for today's lesson, because Wally the Word Man is here with something brand new for you to learn. Right, Wally the Word Man?
Ah, yes, you're just as right can be, Mr. Wise Old Owl. We've all had a lot of practice now on forming words into sentences, children, but we still haven't learned about all the fun we can have punctuating those sentences with periods and commas, just like grown-ups use. So, let's begin by taking that hard sentence we learned yesterday and printing it on our Wally the Word Man blackboard. I see a violet.
I wonder how many of you youngsters have noticed that the I and the O in the word violet look a whole lot like a 1 and a 0 from our arithmetic lessons.
Well, I imagine most of the children have noticed it by now, Mr. Wise Old Owl, because you pointed out that very same thing when we wrote this sentence on the board yesterday.
Well, I know, but I neglected to remind the kids that a 1 and a 0 right together, as they are in the word violet, make a 10. So violet is really spelled V-10-L-E-T.
I really wish you wouldn't teach the children to spell words that way, Mr. Wise Old Owl. I think it might tend to confuse them a lot.
I'm terribly sorry. I didn't mean to interfere.
Quite all right. Now, boys and girls, to make a complete sentence out of I see a violet, we have to put a thing at the end, and that's called a period. So let's all make a tiny round dot after violet.
And notice, if you will, children, how that round dot looks a lot like a decimal point that we use for separating dollars from cents in our addition.
Well, it doesn't just look a lot like it, Mr. Wise Old Owl. The two look exactly alike. But a period serves an entirely different function.
Well, that's true, and the kids have already learned that its function in arithmetic is much more important. Remember how I showed you that we can multiply by 10 just by moving our decimal point one space to the right? Should we review that now, boys and girls?
No, we shouldn't do that now. I'm right in the middle of an important lesson on punctuation, and I'd rather not mix arithmetic in with it.
Well, it just seemed like a logical time, since it doesn't take a lot of thinking to put a period at the end of a sentence. Everybody knows how to do that.
Well, they don't know how to do it until somebody teaches them. And you'd realize that if you'd taken even one education course in college. Boy, you math majors really have a limited view of things.
Well, I don't see any reason for starting to throw personal insults into this. If you want to waste more time on whatever you're doing there, go right ahead.
Thank you. I intend to. Now, boys and girls, suppose we want to write something even harder, like, I see a violet, and it is purple. Then we'd just have a little pause after the word violet, and we'd indicate that with a comma, which looks like this.
Well, what do you know, kids? That comma is the very same thing we learned to use last week when we separated thousands from hundreds in arithmetic. You remember? 1, 0, 0, 0 is 1,000.
You're just not going to butt out of this thing, are you?
Well, I only wanted to point out something important, so this lesson wouldn't be a complete waste of time. So far today, all the kids have learned to do is put little squiggly things in their sentences.
All right, that does it. Up to now, you've just been a harmless fathead, but you finally went too far. Take that.
Well, I guess our time's up for today, boys and girls. Join us again tomorrow on Prodigy Street for more...
Yeah, tomorrow we're going to take something even more interesting, kids. The semicolon.
Well, we'll have to see about that. So be sure to join us, children. Same time, same station, on Prodigy Street. Wally the Word Man will be here, and you can just bet I'll be here too.
I can hardly wait. Hi, this is Bob Elliott.
And this is Ray Goulding.
And just a quick reminder that the Bob and Ray radio show is coming to you through the transmitter of this listener-supported public radio station.
And a mighty fine transmitter it is, too. In fact, I think that's one of Mr. Armstrong's original prototypes, isn't it?
Well, perhaps not that new, but the point is, for this station to continue to buy new equipment and keep the Bob and Ray radio show sounding good, it needs help from each one of you listeners.
So here's someone who can tell you what number to call to pledge your support. Today we're pleased to welcome back our Bob and Ray Consumer Affairs Advisor, Hoyt Netley. Mr. Netley has been on the staff of Syracuse University for more than 30 years, and he's kindly consented to offer his expert findings on various products to our listeners.
Thank you. I've brought several consumer items with me today, Ray, that are available on retail shelves throughout the country.
Yes, I see you have. And before we discuss those, I noticed that your resume just says you're on the staff of Syracuse University. It doesn't mention the department that you're affiliated with.
You mean what building do they have me work in up there?
Well, that would be part of it. I just think our listeners would like to know what you do at the university.
Well, I do whatever needs to be done. It's been that way since the spring of 1974.
I see. Well,
actually, I started in October of 73, but it was only part-time at first, so I'd say 1974 because that's when I began doing it full-time, and I like to be conservative.
Well, being conservative is certainly something one looks for in a consumer affairs advisor, so let's get on to the first item you have there to describe to our listeners.
All right, this is something I want to warn people about if they have small children. I found it among other canned goods in my home, but when I tried to eat these preserved turnips, they were very tough to chew, and I'm afraid a child could easily strangle them, things like this.
Well, I'm sure that's true, but those aren't preserved turnips in that can. They're tennis balls. Look at the label.
You're right, canned tennis balls. Isn't that interesting? I guess maybe the fresh ones are out of season.
Maybe so. In any event, I think you should move right along to another consumer topic.
Well, it's easy for you to move along because these tennis balls weren't found in your cupboard. As it happens, my wife doesn't play tennis, but we live next door to a gigolo who does.
Well, that's really not a consumer problem, so if we could just...
That little dude next door is a consumer. He's going to have big problems when I get my hands on him.
Fine, but in the meantime... what about this large bottle that you have marked as your shopper's special of the week?
Yeah, that was quite a discovery, and I certainly want to recommend it to your audience. Most people don't think twice about spending $2, $3 for a large bottle of the leading mouthwash, but it's only 20% alcohol. I found this generic brand in my neighborhood drugstore for 60 cents, and look at that label. 100% alcohol.
Well, that may be, Mr. Netley, but this is not a mouthwash. It's rubbing alcohol. You see, it says right there, for external use only.
Yeah, I saw that. So I gargled with it in the backyard for the first day or two. Then I found it didn't seem to burn my throat any worse when I brought it in the house and gargled internally.
I see. What did you say you do up there at the university?
I didn't exactly say. I kind of danced around the question.
That's the way I remember it, too. So, well, what's next on your list of recommendations for the consumer? You have two very official-looking documents there.
These are life insurance policies that appear identical. Each one pays a $50,000 benefit, and they were both issued for my age group. But one came from a nationally advertised company, and it has an annual premium 3 times as high as this policy from a lesser-known company.
That's an amazing difference. I suppose most consumers think they can choose any insurance firm and get the same thing for their money.
Well, nothing could be further from the truth, Ray. In fact, the agent who sold me the cheaper policy gave me a free ballpoint pen and a leatherette appointment book, too. So that reduced my cost even more.
Yes, it did. And you say one company charged you 3 times as much as the other for the same identical coverage?
Right. My beneficiary will get $50,000 from each. Of course, with the cheaper one, I have to be killed by a falling meteor in order for anyone to collect. But I get to keep the ballpoint pen and the appointment book even if that never happens.
Well, then it certainly seems that you've turned up a real bargain for our many uninsured listeners.
Yes, and I'm a firm believer in the adage that life insurance is like fudge sauce. You can't have too much of it.
Well, that's a wise thought to leave us with today. I'm sure we're all looking forward to your next visit, Mr. Hort Netley, the Bob and Ray Consumer Affairs Advisor.
Well, gosh, it looks like we've come to the end of still another fine feature produced for the Radio Foundation by Larry Josephson, who wishes people wouldn't say I could care less when they really mean I couldn't care less.
Mr. Josephson's associate producer is Lars Hoel. Our musical director is Paul Taubman, Pride of Congress, New York.
And Al Schaefer was at the sound effects desk. In the control room, you'll probably find the technical director, Dave Glasser, as well as our engineering assistants, Marty Newman, Miles Smith, and Jay Newland, and our production assistants, Bill O'Neill and Charles Whitson.
The program was recorded at Howard Schwartz Studios in New York, utilizing most of the talents at Howard's command.
Funding was provided in part by the National Endowment for the Arts and the Corporation for Public Broadcasting through NPR's Satellite Program Development Fund.
This is Ray Goulding, reminding you to write if you get work.
Bob Elliott reminding you to hang by your thumbs.
Additional funding from public radio stations. For a free picture of Bob and Ray, send a stamped self-addressed envelope to Bob and Ray Picture, Box 5000 GPO, New York 10116. Again, send a stamped self-addressed envelope to Bob and Ray Picture, Box 5000 GPO, New York 10116. We regret that we cannot send a picture without a stamped self-addressed envelope. This program was independently produced by the Radio Foundation.